What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday, November 30th, which means it is the Casual Wrestling Daily Podcast, the daily pro wrestling show where we discuss everything that is going on in the world of WWE and AEW. If you enjoy the content and you are feeling a little bit oozy, you are welcome to go ahead and click the link in the description of this video to donate a couple of dollars. If not, that's okay. Just sit back and enjoy the next 30 minutes of pro wrestling talk. As always, if you don't know, now you know. I am the Notorious Nerdy D, aka the voice of the casual wrestling community. And a little bit of housekeeping to jump right into. We are on patreon.com/the casual wrestling show. It is 100% free to follow. That is where we post all of the channel updates and community updates. So make sure to follow. I promise I'm going to be posting a video blog in the next 2 days. I just haven't gotten around to it. Been a lot of stuff going on in the Notorious D household. A lot of people sick. A lot of kids being taken care of. So I will get to that as soon as I can. But we gotta let you guys know that this week's show is brought to you by our Patreon producers. It's Zenny, LGRSM, Regis JC, and Ian Newberry. You guys are the bloodline of this show because everybody else is the twos and you guys are the ones. Let's jump right into the things you need to know about in the world of wrestling this week, starting with there's been a lot of speculation on when Charlotte Flair is returning to the WWE. Now, guys, Charlotte hasn't been seen since May 8th of 2022 of this year. That was WrestleMania Backlash. She had a match against Ronda Rousey. I think that was the I Quit match. If I'm not mistaken, that was the I Quit match for the SmackDown Women's Championship that Charlotte finally lost and Ronda went over with. And I have that match down as possibly, I think I have that match down. We're coming up quickly on the Notorious Nerdy D Wrestling Year End Award show. And I do believe that I have that match down as a Match of the Year candidate. So I'll have to see if it makes it all the way to, we still got a couple weeks before we finalize that list, but it's definitely on there. And I thought that match was possibly Ronda Rousey's best match ever. As far as her, as far as WWE and wrestling career go, I think that was her best. I think it was the match that kind of brought me around to liking Charlotte Flair. So yeah, I mean, that was a solid match. But right after that, WWE wrote Charlotte off of TV by saying that I believe they called it a broken arm. They said she suffered a broken arm at the hands of Ronda Rousey, when in reality, we all know that Charlotte was taking time off to get married to her fiance Andrade, and I think she went on a honeymoon. So Charlotte's kind of resurfaced here in the last couple days. She posted on an Instagram story a picture of herself wearing wrestling boots again, along with a couple clips from some WWE television, some old videos of herself. Now, we're 9 weeks away from the Royal Rumble, which is where I suspect that we're going to see Ronda Rousey again. She's probably going to be a surprise entrance, and her odds to win this thing are probably going to be considerably high. We've waited this long. Why would WWE spoil that by bringing her back in this 9-week gap that we have? Unless Triple H just panics and he needs people for television and he needs surprises to keep the ratings from dropping during this weird long break. I suspect we're going to get some kind of holiday special show, like a SmackDown Super Show is what I'm suspecting. I think we will. But the bigger question here is what is Charlotte going to do when she returns at the Royal Rumble? Let's say she wins, or even if she doesn't win, there's still roughly there's 3 months in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania that she has to find some things to do. And I don't think that can just be, setting up this big WrestleMania match with Bianca Belair. Because the rumor is she's going to set up an angle with Bianca Belair for WrestleMania 39. But until then, I think it's best that Charlotte Flair avoids going straight after the championship. Because that's kind of been a knock on Charlotte Flair, that she's a little bit one-dimensional when it comes to being able to work television, is that she's either a champion or she's chasing a championship. So I'd like to see her come in and feud with someone, maybe a Shotzi, maybe a Liv Morgan, someone lower on that mid card that she could give a little bit of a rub to. She could give a little bit of a push to. Someone to kind of get back, to ease herself back into the thing, like ease herself back into the groove. What I don't want to see, for sure, 100%, I don't want to see Charlotte come right back in and feud with Ronda Rousey. Like, keep those two away from each other. We've had our fix. I've had way more than enough of Ronda Rousey than I can stand for this year, and I definitely don't want Charlotte jumping right back into that. One thing that I'm very interested in is to see how Charlotte has evolved her character. Because if she just returns as the same old Charlotte Flair, I'm not sure how well her and Bianca are going to be able to build towards WrestleMania 39 with the dynamics the current way they are. Because Bianca is not a strong front runner, and I don't know that Charlotte is going to do well chasing Bianca. I think those dynamics are a little strange, so something's going to have to give. But Charlotte has always said she likes to come back and kind of reinvent herself. So I'll be interested to see what she does when she comes back. Another feud that I think might be interesting for Charlotte to jump back into would be something with Bayley. That could be fun. I don't know who would work as the babyface in that program, because Charlotte has gone on record and says she doesn't enjoy working as babyface. And I think that Bayley has established that Damage Control, they work well as the heels. And now I could see Damage Control working as a babyface group. I think Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Bayley, they all can work babyface, but I don't know. I think they've kind of established themselves in a heel role, so I don't know that would work, but I do think that just seeing Bayley and Charlotte, two of the four horsewomen, back in the ring together would be fun, because they've both they've gone on two different kind of hiatuses at different times. So it's been a while, and that would feel a little bit fresh. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see, with all of these players hanging around as we come into the WrestleMania 39 stretch here, because we're basically in it. I think it really starts after WrestleMania, but we can cheat here and start it, a few weeks early. And as we kind of run into that, I think Triple H has some interesting decisions to kind of sort out here, because there's only a limited number of spots in WrestleMania 39. And he's accumulated quite the roster of women to possibly fill those spots. Now, we know the rumor. The rumor right now is that we're getting Becky versus Ronda, and we're getting Charlotte versus Bianca. I don't believe that's where we'll end up. I believe there's too many other options. Right now, I look at WWE women's division as I have main event players, and I kind of have the fringe main event players who are right there on the edge of getting to that position. And if you look at the main event players, I think you're talking about Bayley, you're talking about Rhea Ripley, you're talking about Charlotte, you're talking about Becky, Ronda, and Bianca. Those are your six that I think are solidified as they can main event a show, and most people don't have a problem. Rhea Ripley being on the fringe of that, I think she's established herself and elevated herself to that level. But the other five for sure can main event a night one WrestleMania, or just be a high functioning match in that night. Right after those six, I think there's five right now that are kind of, and maybe this is six really, that are on that fringe of possibly elevating themselves to that next level. And I think number one is Raquel Rodriguez. She's right there. She just needs a little bit of better booking, a little bit of a push, a consistent push, and I think she'll be there and she'll be available for main event. Probably not 39, but by 40, I think Raquel Rodriguez will be a mainstay in the spotlight. I think, once Alexa Bliss, once we figure out what's going on with her, I think she'll catapult herself back into that top tier. I think Asuka is somebody who kind of is a balancing act, that she can go to the top tier, but she tends to be used more on that second level of superstar. And then you have Liv Morgan, who is somebody who I've been critical of, but she did prove in that short title run that she's capable of being in the main event. I don't know that she's capable of holding the championship and holding people's attention, but definitely after the post Liv Morgan championship era has shown her to be, you know, a little bit more extreme and fun to watch. And then lastly, I think that Damage Control is on their way of, they're on the bottom rung of that mid-tier group of women. They have a ways to go if they want to get into that main event picture, but I think that they have the capability to eventually get there. In other news that things you need to know about right now, there's an article going around that there are chances that FTR will possibly make the jump back to WWE or the independent circuit. So FTR is considering leaving AEW once the time comes for their contracts to expire, and they're looking to keep their options open, right? They've been pretty vocal, I think, about not being happy with the way AEW is booking them. They haven't gotten an opportunity at the AEW Tag Team Championship. They've been Ring of Honor champions, but like I said, that's kind of bullshit at this point, right? The Ring of Honor is just secondary titles to AEW. You could try to sway me all you want on this thought that like Ring of Honor is a separate thing, but it's literally just it's like the bastard cousins of the AEW titles. So the belief is that FTR's contracts are up around April. And from everything I'm reading, FTR is truly considering their options, including a possible return back to WWE. And why not, right? Triple H is there. But here's the deal. This is something I'm going to take hate for, and I don't care because I'm going to speak honestly. But here's the deal. I've never really understood the hype around FTR. Like, what makes them so special? What makes the IWC just lose their shit every time that FTR wrestles? What am I missing here, guys? You guys are gonna have to let me know, like in the comments of this video, what am I missing? Because when I look at FTR, and I'm looking at it from a casual fan's perspective. Remember this, but when I look at FTR, I see a lack of character, and character is highly important to me, and I see a lack of size, and size is highly important to me. These guys are both 5'10". They're kind of built like potatoes. And I haven't seen them cut a single promo that's ever made me go, oh, damn, these guys can talk on a microphone. Like, they're literally, they're the meat and potato boys. They're good and they're solid, but I can't figure out why IWC fans will literally tell me when I talk about the Usos being the best tag team in wrestling currently, FTR is always a name I get thrown in my face, and I went back and watched matches. I can't understand it. Like, I get it. They're good. They're good, and they're extremely good at putting the baby faces in a position to look good. But, like, that's not interesting to me. Like, I don't think you can be considered the best if what you're best at is making the other team look great. Now, that's a great skill to have. I think that it keeps you in a company long term if you want. But I don't know that you can be labeled as the best to do it if that's kind of your main attribute, right? And it's hard for me to get invested overall in FTR when, like, that is the thing that people always point to when they tell me why I should like FTR. They're old school wrestling and they know how to put the baby faces over. I mean, because there has to be a reason that they ping pong from promotion to promotion, right? It's got to be. They're just. Like, for as good as the internet says they are they really selling tickets? Are they really, like, are people really going to a show just to see FTR? And I'm talking about, when I say people, I'm not talking about hardcore wrestling fans. Hardcore wrestling fans show up for hardcore wrestling shit, but they're not the mass audience. I'm talking about the casual wrestling audience. And so I know the history. I know the history with, like, they had a solid NXT run under Triple H. And I know that Vince McMahon kind of booked them into some weird positions. And, like, he had, like, some humiliating videos of them shaving each other's backs and rubbing icy hot on each other. So I get, like, they've been put in some weird spots. But I truly think that, like, shit like that was Vince McMahon just trying to inject personality into them. Because, like, everything I've seen, they're just kind of bleh. FTR is just kind of bleh. They're plain. They're the potato boys. What do you guys love about them? And I read an article where they said they wanted to leave WWE on the upswing, which absolutely makes no sense to me, because if you're on the upswing and you're calling yourself the greatest tag team and you think that the WWE tag team division is lacking and is underappreciated, then why not be so damn good at what you do that you force people to pay attention? Why pack your bags and leave? And why don't they get flack for this like everybody else does when they pack their bags and go? I get that they don't make a big stink about it, but they're still literally doing the same thing as some people who take a lot of shit for packing their bags up and leaving and going to another company. Now, my question here is if FTR returns to WWE, are they going to return as the Revival, or do they get to keep the FTR name? And I thought it was interesting. I didn't know what FTR stood for. So anybody else who doesn't know what it stands for Forever the Revival. So I didn't realize that it was just, a play on the original name. If I'm a betting man, I think the odds are that they return to WWE. I think under Triple H, it sounds to me like Triple H is the most qualified to know how to use FTR. And so, their height of their kind of apex of their run as a tag team was under Triple H and NXT. So I think the odds would be good. I could see them going the indie route, but man, going back to WWE under Triple H is probably a godsend for those guys. And I get it. Like, I understand there's different flavors of wrestling for every type of fan. I understand. Like, my flavor of wrestling isn't for everybody, what I enjoy. But like FTR is just one of those fucking flavors that I do not understand it whatsoever. This story's been floating around a little bit. There's a rumor that Triple H is very interested in trying to bring William Regal back to the WWE. And why wouldn't he be, right? I mean, he's integral. Regal is one of the most, I think, respected names in professional wrestling. Like, most people, casual, IWC, pretty much everybody would agree, like, quality person as far as wrestling goes. He was a former champion, a former king of the ring. He's good on a microphone. He was awesome in NXT. I think Vince McMahon, I don't know what Vince was doing when he let him go, but he let him go. And, and William Regal's work in AEW has been fantastic as well, from the Blackpool Combat Club to the MJF stuff. All of that stuff's been awesome. And I think it surprised a lot of people pre-Survivor Series War Game when Triple H tweeted out that meme of William Regal doing the War Games, whatever his kind of patented War Games call out. You got to wonder when stuff like this happens, when Triple H tweets out stuff like that, you got to wonder if Tony Khan is out here screaming tampering again. Because deep down inside, Tony Khan has to have a fear. He has to, right? He's got to be a little shaken up by the brassiness of Triple H to basically openly recruit people out of AEW at this point. I think it's not a secret at this point. We heard about the stories of him contacting AEW talent. You see him doing things like this, which is just actively recruiting William Regal, even though there's been conflicting reports on how long William Regal actually has left on his contract. I saw initially they thought that his contract was on its way out. Then Dave Meltzer came out and reported that there's technically years left on his contract. Then just before I went on, I saw that an article that said, no, William Regal is still in play for a return to WWE. So who knows? Like, at this point, I don't know what his contract is, but like, Tony Khan has to be shaken up by this. Like the fucking stones on Triple H to just go, I'm going to call these people out. I'm going to make reference to these people, and I'm going to let them know that they can find a home back here if they're ready. There has to be a healthy fear from Tony Khan. Like, if the Dynamite ratings start slipping, which I don't think they're great right now. I don't know exactly what they're doing. And I know ticket sales have been tough for AEW. If this trend kind of continues, any wrestler in AEW whose contract is up, Tony Khan has to have a little bit of a tight butthole when it comes to, are those guys going to jump ship? Are they going to go back to WWE? Because I don't think Cody is the last guy to make that jump. He was the first domino, but I don't think he will be the last to jump back. I think that Tony Khan right now is probably juggling contracts, trying to figure out how he can slide in non-competes and keep people out of WWE. I know that all the AEW people try to come out and say that's not what he's doing. He has no fear of this, but there's 100%. Tony Khan is afraid of people jumping from AEW back to WWE. All right, so I want to do something a little different that I haven't done in a podcast before, and I want to do a thing. I want to tell you guys 5 things as casual fans you may not know about Seth Rollins. I thought that would be an interesting little story to tell, and I might do it every Wednesday. Just pick a superstar and tell you 5 things that you may not know about that superstar that you probably should know. So let's do, here it is, the top 5 things you didn't know about Seth Rollins. Starting with number 1, Seth Rollins is the only WWE superstar to win the FCW, NXT, and WWE titles. So Seth Rollins won the inaugural NXT championship in 2012. So he was the first ever NXT champion of the NXT brand. And most people are aware of what FCW is, but if you don't know what FCW was, it was kind of the company that preempted NXT. It was the developmental brand of WWE. They used it to build stars. And it was rebranded as NXT eventually, and then became kind of a farming company and a performance center. But while competing in FCW, Seth Rollins did win the FCW Heavyweight Championship, which made him the only WWE superstar to hold the FCW Championship, the NXT Championship, and a WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Second thing you need to know about Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins started wrestling at the age of 14. So Seth Rollins wrestled at the age of 14 in his parents' backyard. And I guess when Seth attended college, he decided it wasn't for him, and he left college and he attempted a career in professional wrestling. In 2006, Seth Rollins attended WrestleMania 22, which was hosted in Rosemont, Illinois. That day, he vowed to attend the next WrestleMania, not as a fan, but as a superstar, which, of course, he accomplished that goal. Third thing you need to know about Seth Rollins was the first person younger than the inception of WrestleMania to win a WrestleMania main event. So Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank, it's known as the heist of the century, at WrestleMania 31. And at WrestleMania 31, he was not yet 31 years old when he cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase and basically won the main event of WrestleMania 31. So the very next year, Roman Reigns did the same. He joined that club, but Seth Rollins will forever be the first person younger than WrestleMania to win a WrestleMania main event. Fourth thing you might not have known about Seth Rollins is that when CM Punk was creating the Shield, Seth Rollins was one of the original members that CM Punk was very keen and adamant about joining the Shield. So the Shield initially debuted, if you're too young to know this, they debuted to protect CM Punk's longest reign as WWE champion in 2012. And CM Punk wanted the faction to originally feature Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Cassius Ohno. It made sense because at that time, those were 3 guys who came kind of through the Ring of Honor system and the indie system like CM Punk. So he was fond of those guys. CM Punk was never real fond of Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns was that ex-athlete kind of protected guy in the company. And so CM Punk didn't really want him to be a part of the Shield originally. However, like at the end, everybody knows that WWE officials, made the final call to add Roman Reigns to the Shield. But it's pretty cool that like CM Punk, that was his guy. So he kind of pinned Seth Rollins at that point. And there was a lot of talk when CM Punk was coming back. There was talk of like getting the dream match, in the height of Seth Rollins' career, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, which still, is a possibility if WWE ever decided to bring CM Punk back. And the last fun little fact, number 5, that you need to know about Seth Rollins is that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn attended Seth Rollins' first match in WWE. So Seth Rollins debuted at a Survivor Series in 2012 as a member of The Shield, and their first match took place at TLC pay-per-view later that year. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose battled against Daniel Bryan, Kane, and Ryback in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. It was the inaugural WWE event at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were good friends of Seth Rollins at the time. They shared a locker room in Ring of Honor, so they attended the TLC event in 2012. Just hours before that event, they had just finished the main event at the Ring of Honor Final Battle in Manhattan, New York. And KO later revealed, actually, that it was watching that match that made him realize he needed to step his game up and work harder if he wanted to achieve a WWE contract himself. So that's cool, right? 5 fun facts about Seth Rollins that you might not have known that now you know. So that's cool. We'll do that every Wednesday. We'll talk about that every Wednesday. But also, I do believe that I'm gonna do a tier maker today. I'm gonna end the show with a tier maker. It was pre-recorded. It'll go right at the end of this, and then we'll end the show with an outro after that. All right. So here's the deal. Yesterday I was talking about how Roman Reigns was pissed off because Kevin Owens slapped him unexpectedly, which got me to thinking that it might be fun to do a tier maker on who I think I could actually fight in a street fight. Street fight rules, not WWE fight, not UFC style, but just street fight rules. Who I think I could take in a fight. Now let's keep in mind here. I go 6'4", 280 pounds, so I'm a big boy. Right, I'm an ex-college athlete, so I have a little bit of mobility. My body's been beat up, but I still think I'm pretty physical. I've been in my fair share of fights in my life, so I think that I'm an above average untrained fighter, whatever that means. Take it for what it is. Maybe my ego's inflated, but I think I can throw down. Okay, so I've broken this down into 5 categories here, and the 5 categories are starting from the bottom. Flick them in the forehead. That means exactly what it means. It means I'm gonna have no problem with this person. I'll flick him in the forehead. It's gonna be an easy day. Okay. Second category, we got light snack. Light snack means, I might break a small sweat, but still, like, there's no worry. I'm not going into this thing. I don't need much training. I'll just go straight in and handle my business. Then we go to fair fight. Fair fight means I think that they're my equal. I believe that getting into a fight with this person would be, it's a toss up. Flip a coin. Flip a coin in that one. Then I've got, it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be an uphill battle is really what that means. And what that means is I'm prepared to go down swinging. That I'm not walking away from this fight. I will take the fight. I will go one-on-one, but I am prepared to go down swinging. And then last we have just straight up run away. And run away means just get out of there. My life means too much to me to stand around and just get beat up. And so here we go. This is the Monday Night Raw edition, which means in the future we'll do a SmackDown and we'll do an AEW, but let's jump right in. I just drug all these photos in from the Monday Night Raw roster. I haven't pre-looked at this. I haven't even thought about it. This is just kind of going off the dome here, trying to think about who I would and wouldn't fight and where I would put them. So let's start off. This is interesting because we're going to start off with Omos. And so some issues here with Omos is size is a problem. Size in a street fight is a problem. But he labors a little bit. He's a little bit slow. I've dealt with guys like this in basketball. Guys who are that above 7 foot range. They don't move real well. I believe that with someone like Omos, I have the upper hand in speed and mobility. So I do believe I'm going to place Omos. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle with Omos. I'm not walking away from that fight. I'm taking that fight. I think I can handle him. I think at the end of the day, look, if he catches one, I'm probably going down. All it takes is one from Omos to go down. But the reality is, I think that I have an opportunity. I have a chance. I give myself a chance in that fight, and I'm taking that fight. All right, so we got Angelo Dawkins next. Angelo's sneaky athletic and sneaky big. I think Angelo is my size, but in way better physical shape than me right now. So I'm putting Angelo in that same spot. It's gonna be a battle. I'm not backing down from Angelo Dawkins. I'm going one-on-one. We're gonna look eye to eye. And it may be, you know, Angelo maybe a year ago when he looked a little more like me, I think for sure he goes fair fight. But I think Angelo's worked himself into kind of a little bit of a physical specimen, and that's going to be a battle. I'm not running away. I'm definitely not running away from Angelo Dawkins. All right, AJ Styles. AJ Styles. I'm not, you know, look, AJ Styles, he's a little older. He's a little beat up. He's a little farther into his career. He's pretty athletic, but athletic doesn't bother me in a street fight because he's not, you know, you're not going to be jumping off the ropes or doing anything fancy. If you got to square up with me and I have a weight and size advantage, I feel like I'm in a good position. So for AJ Styles, that's a light snack. AJ's a light snack. I'm putting AJ down on the ground. I'm taking him to the ground. I'm using my weight, using my size, ground and pound. Yeah, that's light work right there, man. Let's go. That's Commander Aziz, I believe, right? Commander Aziz, just because I don't like him, I'm gonna go light snack. Nothing about him screams athlete to me. I think I'm taking Commander Aziz straight up. I don't have a worry. I've seen people like him. He looks soft. He looks like one shot and he's backing down. He doesn't want that fight. As Montez Ford would say, he doesn't want that smoke. Commander Aziz doesn't want smoke with me. Let's move on here. Who do we got next? That's Corbin. Corbin's a big boy. Corbin's deceptively big is the problem. Ex-athlete bothers me, right? Because you know, I think athletes get this, they get a bad rap of not being able to fight, but most athletes have fought in a locker room and they know a little bit about street fighting. With Corbin, what am I doing with Corbin here? It's either a fair fight or it's going to be an uphill battle. I think because Corbin is a little lighter in the weight category, I think I could go toe-to-toe with Corbin. I think that's a fight that goes pretty straight up. It's a pretty fair fight. I'm sure that I'd flip a coin between me and Corbin in a street fight. Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. So we're looking at next is Bobby Lashley, and we don't even have to talk about this, guys. I'm running. Bobby Lashley's got MMA experience. He's got real fighting experience. Yeah, and he's just, I mean, you talk about flick him in the forehead. I think he'd flick me in the forehead. I'm just not prepared for that. There's no place that I don't want any broken bones. I don't want to be tossed around. I don't want to be given a wedgie because I feel like Bobby Lashley would give me a wedgie or something. I'm just not, I don't want that. I'm not into that. Who's this next? Is that, okay, Cedric Alexander. That's a light snack. Cedric's a light snack. I'm not worried about that. That's not a problem. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. I'm thinking that's a light snack. No. You know what? After seeing him tough out that arm injury and how like mentally tough he is, that's a fair fight. Based on size and everything, my preconceived notions about Cody Rhodes, I would have said that he was a light snack, but based on that toughness that he showed at Hell in a Cell, he's definitely a fair fight for me. All right, so that's Damian Priest. Damian he moves around pretty well for a guy of his size, and he's a big boy, and he's pretty limber and pretty athletic. I think he looks pretty tough. I'm gonna go. That's gonna be an uphill battle. I'm gonna fight Damian Priest. I'm not backing down from that fight, but I think that fight is one that I'm not necessarily just I'm not excited when I wake up in the morning knowing I'm fighting Damian Priest. Dexter Lumis. Dexter's going in Runaway. There's screws missing from this dude. And I don't even care if that's rest. Like, there's screws missing from Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis is an incredibly athletic human being, incredibly in shape. And then you just add in the factor that, like, it's not all there up in the dome. Like, I think Dexter Lumis would die for this shit. And so I'm not taking that fight. They come to me with a contract for that fight. I'm going, you know what? I want the next one. I don't want that one. All right, next we got Dolph Ziggler. Now, I know Dolph's got a wrestling background, which bothers me because some of these wrestlers, they're going to be shifty. They're going to be able to get around me. Now, I outsized Dolph pretty good. So I'm not worried in that department. Dolph's going to be a fair fight. Because of his wrestling ability, Dolph Ziggler is a fair fight. I think that I flip a coin. I still feel like I have a little bit of an advantage in that fight. But I'm gonna go fair fight with Dolph Ziggler. Dominic Mysterio, I'm flicking him in the forehead. Come on, guys. Y'all know better than this. If I get into a fight with Dominic Mysterio, I'm flicking him in the forehead, and he's gonna run home and cry to Ray. Like, it's not nothing's like I have zero fear of Dominic Mysterio. Zero fear of fighting Dominic Mysterio. I will line up against Dominic Mysterio and I will mollywop him 100 out of 100 times. It's not a problem. Up next, that's Edge. Edge is a light snack only because of his age, and I feel like his body is pretty brittle at this point. Like, he can still wrestle, he can still go in a wrestling ring, but I think in a straight up fight, I don't think he's going to be a problem. I think his age will come into play. Like, at a certain point, your body just starts to decline, and I think Edge has hit that decline, and I'm not worried about it. Elias is going to go it's going to be a battle. He's another one of those sneakily athletic guys, like very big, very strong looking. I feel like these guys in it's gonna be a battle category. You're at the risk of them catching that one shot. It's that one right hand, right? That one right hand that just drops you, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, where the fuck am I at? What happened? Where's Elias? Where's Ezekiel? Which one did I fight? So I'm putting him there. Finn Balor. He's too little, man. He's too little. He might be fast. He might be shifty, but I get my hands on him. He's a light snack. Simple as that. He's a light snack. Same with Chad Gable. He's a light snack. I'm not worried about him. It's not going to be a tough fight. I know he's got a wrestling background and he's going to try and but I just feel like my size is going to be a problem for Chad Gable. I really do. I feel like, those wrestling guys, unless they're as big as me, I don't have a ton of fear. I've fucked around with a couple like wrestling people and pushed around and rolled around with them, and they're not as tough as they think they are. Not as tough as they think they are. Johnny Gargano, I'm flicking him in the forehead. He's just like, I get it. He's a great professional wrestler, but if we're fighting one-on-one, that's just right in the forehead and he goes down. Who is this? Carl Anderson. I see bald guys, man. Bald guys scare me. I'm a bald guy. Bald guys can fight. We just there's a gene in us. There's a recessive gene in us that because we lose our hair, we have to be able to fight. So I'm putting Carl Anderson up in that. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle with Carl Anderson. Kevin Owens. KO. I feel like KO is just a straight up fair fight to me. Because I have the height, the size, but he's a tough son of a bitch. I'm a tough son of a bitch. We go one-on-one. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. I just don't think I don't have the same fear I have of Kevin Owens that I have of possibly catching an Omos punch. I think that, I saw Kevin give Roman a shot to the ear. Roman didn't even move. So I don't have a big fear of Kevin Owens like I do. Luke Gallows, we're not getting into that. Luke Gallows looks like he's seen some shit in his life. Luke Gallows looks like he has seen some shit in some bars in his life, and that he is excited for that kind of fight. So yeah, I don't want that fight. Montez Ford, that's a fair fight. I think that his athleticism, he's probably got a little bit of an edge on me, but I think that it's closer to fair than it is to it's going to be a battle. Mustafa Ali, that's a light snack. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's a light snack. Big boy Otis. I'm not fighting big boy Otis. I've fought guys his size. That's not fun. It's not fun. Like the amount of effort it takes to take that guy, like the amount of punishment you have to actually do. And Otis moves deceptively good for a guy that size. I'm not getting into that fight. That's not happening. Randy Orton, his athleticism is ridiculous. You know what though? With his whole back situation, I think it's going to be a fair fight. Just because of the surgery, he's coming out of surgery. I'm fighting Randy Orton right now. Right after surgery. He's in recovery. If this was any other time, it's an uphill battle. But coming right out of surgery while he's wounded, I think it's a fair fight. I think I could take Randy Orton in a fair fight. Riddle, I'm running. I'm running from Riddle. That's an MMA dude. I'm not getting involved with an MMA dude. It's just not happening. Like, I know his skill set. He's tall. He's long. He can kick. He can punch. He can grapple. He's got jujitsu. I don't want that. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get twisted up like a pretzel. I'm not trying to be a pretzel. I'm not trying to tap out in front of all my friends and my family and my wife. It's not happening. If I see Riddle, if we got a problem, hey man, I don't know what the problem is, but I apologize. I don't want that business. Bobby Roode, I think, is a fair fight. He looks like a tough guy. I'm not about to do that. R-Truth, I think, is a fair fight, even though I think age is the problem there. Seth Rollins is a light snack. Come on, guys. Y'all saw what the fuck he wore on Monday Night Raw. Nobody who wears a lace suit, nobody that wears a lace suit is beating me in a fight. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Like, I just won't allow it. There's a level of adrenaline that will kick in that will take me to another level. And Seth Rollins, light snack, just because of the amount of adrenaline and anger I will have when I see that man. Is that Shelton Benjamin? I believe he's got some MMA background, so I don't even want to invest into that. Adam Pearce, I'm flicking in the forehead. The Miz, he's a light snack, dude. He's a nerd. Austin Theory, I'm going to put a fair fight. Austin Theory's young, athletic. He's going to be tough. Tommaso Ciampa, that's a light snack. He's just not big enough. And I don't know enough about what's his name, Tozawa. I don't want to put him there. I'm going to put him in a light snack because I'm not sure. But I don't know enough about him. He may have some real fighting background. He may have some martial arts in his background. And if he does, then he probably would move into a fair fight. But because I don't know enough about him, I'm not going to put him in a fair fight. Let me look at this list. Let me give this list a once over here because I think that I'm pretty solid with this. So people on Monday Night Raw that I'm just running away from and I'm definitely not fighting is Bobby Lashley. Okay. I'm solid on that choice. Dexter Lumis. I'm solid there. Luke Gallows. I'm solid there. Otis. Solid there. Riddle. Those kicks, man. Those kicks are nasty. And Shelton Benjamin, those are the ones that I'm for sure. I know for sure, 100%, that I don't want that. I don't want that fight. The uphill battle, Omos, I believe that's an uphill battle. Angelo Dawkins, that's an uphill battle. Damian Priest, Carl Anderson, and Elias. I think I'm pretty solid there. On a fair fight, we've got Corbin. Yeah, I still think I'm solid there. Cody Rhodes, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Montez Ford, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, R-Truth, and Austin Theory. I'm good with that list. I'm still solid there. Light snack, AJ Styles, Commander Aziz. I don't care about his size. I've seen this dude. I've looked dudes like this in the eyes. He's going down. I'm chopping him down at the legs, taking him down. He's done. Cedric Alexander, done. Edge, just too old. Finn Balor, just too small. Chad Gable, just too small. Mustafa Ali, just too small. Seth Rollins, I'm not losing a fight to a guy in lace. It's just not happening. Not any day of the week. The Miz, nerd, gonna fuck him up. Tommaso Ciampa, he looks tough, but I think I'm still keeping him there. And Tozawa or Tazaka, whatever his name is, don't know enough about him, but I'm gonna put him in light snack because I don't know enough. And then, this last group here, I'm solid with flick him in the forehead. Dominic Mysterio, flick him in the forehead. Johnny Gargano, flick him in the forehead. Adam Pearce, flick him in the forehead. I'm solid. That's my tier maker for who I would fight on Monday Night Raw. All right, guys, that's all the time we have today for Casual Wrestling Daily. We will pick up where we left off tomorrow. Make sure to tune in Monday through Friday for more amazing WWE and AEW wrestling podcast content. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, Casual Wrestling Community Show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't for show that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver or clothesline. We bringing that heat like for show, but you should